Graduates, parents, faculty, and staff, congratulations to St. Edmund Campion's graduating class of 2016. It has been a long journey to reach this point, and I can honestly say it was all worth it. Graduating means to use your education to be successful, and to give back to the community that we've been so blessed to come from. Although recalling the 7th Prime Minister of Canada, or knowing the square root of 361 is really not the education we might think to be what we need in order to be successful in life. By the way, it's Sir Wilfrid Laurier, 19. A man you may or may not have heard of, Albert Einstein, has said that education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. At St. Edmund Campion, we have not quite learned what to learn, but instead how to learn. Not what to think, but how to think. These are the skills that will allow us to be successful in the world outside of school. The education that we've received also allows us to greatly strengthen our foundation of reasoning. We have learned to ask questions and learn not just for the sake of learning, but instead to take that information and apply it to the bigger picture. The real world may be completely different from a math class. However, we can still apply the knowledge we learn in abstract ways, such as relating numbers to logic. As the great philosopher Socrates has said, "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." By learning how to think, we are learning how to avoid progressing through life like mindless zombies. We are given the tools to soar through life by being exceptional. Opposed to being inconsequential, we learn that our lives matter and that we can change the world as long as we have the will to do so. We are all perfect, unique snowflakes, and we have learned to appreciate the beauty of it. So appreciate yourself, because you deserve it. And class of 2016, you've definitely earned it. Our skills that we develop in the classroom are definitely important for the future. But what exactly does the future entail? The future is a time where we will have to start pushing ourselves outside of our comfortable shells and take the world head on. Although each one of us has a different path to walk, we all have a familiar goal. And that goal is to take the next step and write out the next chapter of our lives. Life is interesting because it is not only a story about the individual, but the main character is also the author. We get to choose every step, every turn, every action. We are our own storytellers, and no one can take that away from us. As a philosopher, Jean-Paul Sartre has said, "Everything has been figured out, except how to live." We all know that we have to take that next step, and it is impossible to know for certain which direction we should go. However, we cannot stay stationary forever, as we can only progress by moving forward. Speaker and host of Family Feud, Steve Harvey, has explained the phenomenon of staying stationary perfectly. He states that if you want to be successful, you have to jump. There is no way around it. You have to jump. Sometimes you stand on the edge of the cliff of life and you see other people soaring by like a bird flying through air. Do you know why? It's because their parachute opened. But the only way to get your parachute to open so you can soar is you have to jump. Steve illustrates life as being a cliff, which is interesting as the cliche is a path. He uses the cliff analogy because it depicts the freedom of our choices very clearly, as when we're in the air, we are free to fly around to wherever we please. He also states that sometimes the parachute doesn't open, meaning that we will fall at times. However, failing at the leap does not mean that we should give up. If anything, it should act as motivation to try again. Sometimes you will fall, but you need to get back up. The moment you stop trying and you quit, is the moment you stop progressing. You will never be able to succeed if you give up. When moving into the future, we will ultimately be faced to make decisions on our own. For many of these decisions, there will be right and wrong choices. Giving in to our appetite may seem like a good idea at first, but will have consequences that will affect us further down the road. Rather it being slacking off or ignoring one's responsibilities, we have learned to think before we act, thus ensuring that we will be making the right choices. We are the future, and although the statement is an overused cliche, it's true. We have the responsibility to make the world a better place, and I think we are more than capable of doing so. Ultimately, the world that we are venturing towards will be filled with obstacles and unknowns. However, we all have the ability to push through it. We have the potential to do greatness, as we are the artists of that big picture people keep on talking about. The world as we know it is not perfect, and it may never be. However, I am certain that if we put in the effort, we can get much closer to that perfection than ever thought possible. Together, we can solve the problems that humanity has struggled with for ages, and be the reason for that we are faithful in humanity itself. This isn't a matter of pride, but instead a matter of determination. As a representative of St. Edmund Campion's graduating class of 2016, I can say that we have the potential to change the world for the better and get stronger as a community overall. Finally, I will finish off with the words of my boy, Thomas Hobbes. Not believing in force is the same as not believing in gravitation. We have the ability to be that force to make a difference in the world, and I'm certain that we will use that ability to achieve greatness. Thank you, St. Edmund Campion, parents, staff, faculties, and graduates for making the past 4 years absolutely amazing. And I wish you all the best of luck towards making that leap off the cliff of life. God bless.